Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome back. It's Jordan here. Day number 2 of working on the amusement park. Thinking of ideas this morning. That's what I'm doing. Reading a lot of comments from the last video. There are a lot of suggestions. Thank you. Overwhelming to some degree though. Holy cow. What to do? That's the big question. Well, I'm going to try and figure that out. First things first, a lot of people have been telling me to turn this 45 degrees. Hey, that might be pretty cool. If it's like turned like that, still lots of room for the entrance, and lots of room to double it in the back there. It would be sort of awkward sitting on the plate. Working with angles is difficult, but hey, that might be a good solution for the double Disney castle. Give it the space it requires, fill that corner nicely, and sort of, I don't know, puts it at a nice angle, whereas nothing else is really at an interesting angle. Poor Bo Peep. Oh my goodness. She fell over. There we go. A lot of people have been telling me to turn this roller coaster sideways, but this is 32 studs. This is 48 studs. And this altogether is 96 studs plus the 4 studs on the side. So no, the amusement park is not wide enough, unfortunately, to have this ride turned sideways. I would love for it to be turned sideways. Same with the loop coaster, but it's just not wide enough. There's just some space constraints that we're dealing with here in the amusement park. Something that could fit in that spot, and I actually played around with it, is the haunted house, because the haunted house is only 32 studs, and I actually have it on a 48 by 48 right now, so it could technically fit in here, and then those 4 studs could come onto this plate, but then I'd be moving the carousel back over here in this position. And it was sort of awkward because this would go right up against the train track, so there's not really a whole lot of space over here for the carousel. So that's why I decided to put the haunted house here rather than over there, just so I can have space to have the carousel right here. So you can probably already tell that I'm just taking the time to address some of the suggestions from the comment section. So some people have been telling me to bring the train track up over top of the entrance so minifigures can walk underneath the train track rather than taking a staircase or having to cross the train track. I love the idea, but I've actually done like train gradients quite a few different times. And what I've discovered is that each segment of track, so a segment is 16 studs, it starts there and it ends there, can only go up 1 plate. And a minifigure is actually 5 bricks tall, approximately. Like that's how tall we'd have to bring it up. So 3 plates is 1 brick, so we'd have to go 15 plates up to go over top of the minifigures passing underneath the train track. So we'd have to go 15 segments of train track to get the proper grade so that this RC train just glides up the tracks. We need 15 segments of track before the tunnel and 15 segments of track after the tunnel. There's just no space of doing that. So unfortunately, I just won't be able to make that work here in this layout. Alrighty then. So what's the first thing that I'm going to address today? I think it's going to be the mixer. It's sort of ugly, just floating there in midair. So why don't we start building a platform for that? So this is actually the first LEGO Creator Expert ride that I ever purchased. The first one in the collection. Sort of nostalgic for me. But it is, in my opinion, pretty ugly. It's a ride that has a lot of functionality. It's actually designed to be packed away onto a truck. Yeah, it's pretty neat. It like all folds up and everything. I haven't folded it up in years. I don't think I've ever folded it up since I originally built it, to tell you the truth. But yeah, it's like on a truck thing. And I've actually removed the wheels and I've taken it apart and done all sorts of weird things to it. And today I'm going to do even more weird things to it just to make it look a little more permanent. Because this actually looks like a ride that you would find at like a moving fair. That's what it literally is. It's not a ride that you would find at a permanent amusement park like Disney World or Disneyland, and I want to make it look like a permanent attraction in my park. The first thing that I decided to do was just build a plate base for it using light gray plate. And that actually extends out 1 stud on all 4 sides. So then I was able to put these snot bricks around the edge of it. And I think I'll be able to do something pretty neat with those snot bricks there with colored tile that matches the color of the mixer. Now in the past, I built this crazy platform and the top of it was made with all these ridiculous plate colors. I'm not going to do that, but I still want to have some color, and I think these snot bricks will do a pretty good job of that. I also added an additional 8 studs branching out right here because, of course, I need to build some sort of staircase coming up so that minifigures can actually board the ride. And I think this would be a nice position for it right here because these cars will come by some sort of platform right there where minifigures will be able to board it, I hope. I think that's going to work. Maybe the stairs will have to come from this side. I really don't know. But as you can see, I've positioned my battery box there, and I think this can be the battery box that powers the ride and also the station where people can board. It can act as that platform. And of course, I've got it powered up now. So that feels pretty good. And this thing can actually be reversed, so if I want it to go the other way, we can do that very easily as well. Just need to try and figure out how to bring minifigures up top here so that they can board this. Because of course, when I get this all capped off with plate and put the tiles around it, I want to put this thing on stilts so that minifigures can actually walk underneath it as well. So after getting that plate laid, I did a layer of snot bricks and then a layer of yellow bricks and then another layer of snot bricks. Now I decided to go with yellow because that's the only color that I had enough snot bricks to do something like this with. So I probably would have preferred to go white so it actually matched the main color of the mixer, and then put the blue, yellow, and red tiles on the 3 layers of brick. So if this was white and then I had enough snot bricks and white to go all the way around, that would be super cool. But I decided to use yellow so it's sort of inset that color, and then the tiles are are red and blue. And then I topped it with plate and then tiled it all off, and then I left a row for lights going around the exterior. And I actually had to raise this up just because I raised this entire surface up by 1 tile, so my gears, by 1 tile and 1 plate actually, so my gears were rubbing against the platform. So what I had to do was just switch this out. It actually used to be one of those little 1x2 Technic red pins, but now I changed it to a larger one and I put a little spacer there so it raises the ride up a little bit so it doesn't rub against these tiles. And now when I fire this up, that's going to rotate. Okay, it's right after filming this video and I just noticed that the mixer wheels aren't on the ground, so therefore the cars themselves aren't spinning as well. So you're going to see the mixer operating throughout this video, along with a bunch of other cool stuff operating as well. But just note that I did notice that the mixer platform has to be fixed in that regard, and I will be taking care of that in the future. Put the mixer on there and we can see that go around as well. Just like that. Boom. So it looks pretty clean now. It looks like a permanent ride. I still need to figure out my staircase and also my operator booth, and then also the handrail on the staircase as well. But coming along quite nicely. I think that looks a lot better than it did when we started this video, that's for sure. So my goal when building this was to save as much space as possible, make this as small as possible. I've started building this platform here, and now I realize that the ride sort of goes right over top of the staircase, right? Sort of dangerous. I guess they could stop the ride, bring people up, and you could have like a queue right there, right? Where they're standing underneath the ride, and then they let them in and they come up and stand on the platform and board. Sort of 1 car at a time, right? Get on, get on. But it doesn't really make sense. Technically, the staircase should be over here. So I guess I'm going to rebuild it so the staircase is over here, even though that's going to make it larger. But you know what? With the changes made, I'm pretty happy with the outcome, because now the ride, if I just push this button right here, it's hidden underneath that 2x2 plate, but it passes right over top of the boarding area there, which is just right on the money if you ask me. So that's perfect. Yeah, so we got our stairs and our control booth right there. I also mounted this little flag there, and then I redid all the tiling, made sure that all lined up perfectly. Also added the glass railing there. You know what? Eventually I'm going to be raising this up. Probably about 5 or 6 bricks. And I have 2 options. I can make it so that minifigures can pass underneath it. Or what I could do is put some food stands and games underneath it. And I think that would be really cool if I had like food vendors underneath the mixer. So you know what? I think for now I'm going to classify this project as done, just because I want to move on to some other things, and I spent quite a bit of time on this. But it's now one solid unit. Let me just move that a little bit so I can get my hand there. Yeah, it's one solid unit that can be picked up. Yeah, it's heavy. Super heavy, but yeah, I'm just really happy with that. I think it's clean, and I like the lights going around the light gray tile there. I like the fact that it's all tiled off as well. And the change of moving this over here just worked out beautifully. So there we go. Let's place it. Well, everybody, I couldn't say no. I had to raise it up. So I did that with towers of 6 2x2 circular bricks. Then I extended that staircase as well. There's one thing that bothers me about the staircase, but it would involve a bunch of surgery to fix it. Can you spot it? Yeah, this stair here is 1 plate taller. That's because it's built onto the structure. So in order to fix that, I'd have to do a bunch of surgery. It bothers me right now, but I won't even see it once it's placed. And you probably wouldn't even have seen it if I didn't point it out, right? Yeah, we got the very steep staircase, which is pretty sketchy, but this is a sketchy ride, right? So I'm okay with that. I also decided to cap the lights off with white tiles. I think that looks better than having the exposed trans yellow pieces there. So yeah, now we can fire it up, and it's pretty sturdy. Ooh, yeah. Success. Right? Look at that. It's rock solid, so like now I'm ready to place it in the park. So most likely it's going to be placed somewhere over here by the loop coaster and the Ferris wheel. You know what I really like about this though? The way I've set it up is it's not much larger than the original set. In fact, it's more mobile than the original set. So if I don't like the position of it here, I can very easily just move it anywhere in the park, because it's just like one solid ride now. So I'm a huge fan of that. Whereas the old platform was like tailored to be a go-kart track tunnel, and it had food vendors and stuff underneath it, but it wasn't as movable as this. This one I can just move around wherever I want. There we go. Project number 1 complete. What do you think of the new mixer platform? I think it's exactly what I envisioned, so I'm pretty happy with it. All right, now that that's all taken care of, the next thing I'm going to work on is the railroad crossing. So I've got to remove all these black tiles, get some ramps, and have it so it's just smooth, and then completely tile it off probably in light gray, and then some ramps on this side. And then I've got to build some sort of opening and closing railroad crossing that's, you know, looks decent and is suitable for like park guests or pedestrians, right? How am I going to build those? That's the big question. Let's take care of the tiling first. So I have a lot of these from the road plate packs, and I think they're going to come in pretty handy for creating my ramps. I wish I had them in light gray because there's just a lot of dark gray going on here, but it is what it is. And what I did is just laid up 2 layers of plate. So this can now go like that on the edge of my track all the way along. Going to use 3 of them. And that'll leave me 4 studs on either side to add that gate and other details. So there's the ramps. I tiled off the center, and that actually matches the tile work here with the dark tan 2x2s. I also added this strip of 1x2 curved slopes just to help transition up the ramp on this side here and also on this side as well. So now I have to come up with a railroad crossing control. I've been digging and digging through my Technic pieces to build these railroad crossings, and I came up with something. But I did use some source material. I actually had these ones. They were sent in fan mail when I hit 100,000 subscribers, and they're really neat. I didn't want to take these apart, but they were definitely pretty easy to reference, that's for sure. The issue is coming up with all of the same pieces in all of the same colors. I could find these pieces, but in completely random colors. So I was able to make 1. Ideally, I would want to make 4. That's 2 on either side, so they sort of meet in the middle of the 24 studs and open up, because it's just way too long. But it's pretty neat because I'll be able to position that. It spans 24 studs, and then it'll open up like that. but it would be way better if I could do 2 on each side. I guess I could just change these ones so they use the Technic pieces. The reason I wanted to use the Technic pieces is so they go 12 studs. I guess this one pretty much goes 12 studs, doesn't it? Yeah, maybe I could just use these. They do look really nice, but this is my custom one. It's pretty much the same. I just swapped up the red and white pieces with Technic elements. So yeah, there we go. I also did research online as well, and there's some really cool looking ones out there, but once again, just part constraints. I don't have the parts to create the ones that I found online. You know what? I was able to Frankenstein them together. And these ones that I had built already were pretty good. There's a gap in the center there, but the ones that I built using the Technic pieces actually line up perfectly. I put these like ball pins in the middle, whatever you want to call those. And now these can just open up, and we can open up the park for business. I also made the white X's on the top there, put the lights in as well. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with these railroad crossing traffic control. What the heck? What are you doing down here, buddy? You coming to check it out too? All right, he loves my slippers. You be careful. Did not expect that. Bye. He's crawling. He's like me. But yeah, these railroad crossings look pretty good. Obviously easier to operate with 2 hands apparently. But yeah, I just put them in the 2x2 circular brick, and they got all sorts of Technic axles holding all the Technic components together there. And yeah, turned out quite nice. So there's 2 projects down, railroad crossing and mixer. This has taken far longer than... He's playing with my train track nose plate. Far longer. It's taken much longer than I originally anticipated, but it's all good. Look at this guy. He's never explored down here before like this. You've never crawled under here, dude. It's slippery. Watch out. You might want to drop your toy. Oh, that's funny. I might go hang out with them for a bit before we continue. All right. It's time to bring on the green plate. First, I've got to address a couple more comments here from the last video. Some people have been telling me to move the Disney castle either right here, where it was before I changed everything. I don't know. I guess it would look good there. That's where it was originally, right when you walk in the park. But I did like the idea of having it at the end of the park. Just sort of like this, I don't know, something that you can see when you get to the end of the park. Another comment suggested that I put the Disney castle where the Ferris wheel is. I like that idea, but then when you're standing by my desk there, and I'm filming from over there walking this way, you would see the back of the Disney castle. That's why I chose to put the Ferris wheel there, because the Ferris wheel looks good like 360. It looks good from all sides. So that's why I chose to put that there. I don't know. I sort of like the Disney castle over here. I don't know. Some people have been telling me to remove the roller coasters altogether as well, just because they take up too much space, and then I could focus on building scenes around these other rides. But honestly, like, this is a lot of space for food vendors and trails and everything. Like, there's still a lot of gray space here. Minifigures are only, 3 studs wide. So I don't need a huge amount of space for food vendors. If I get rid of the roller coasters, well, then I've got 2 48 by 48 plates open there and 2 more over there. What am I going to do with all the space? I don't know. I'm pretty sold on the layout that I currently have. I don't want to just keep switching it and switching it and switching it and never progressing forward with the layout. So I'm pretty sold on what we're doing right now. There might be some minor tweaks with the ride positions and stuff, but I'm pretty sold on it, and I just want to move forward with the amusement park. So as you know, I've decided to make all my nose plates using light gray just because I have like these 16 by 16s, and I specifically ordered them for the amusement park. And I'm actually just going to lay my green plate right on top. I don't know if that's going to be a good idea or not. For the most part, I usually just like make it a green base plate like this, right? It goes right on top of my 2x2 bricks. Maybe I should have done that for the amusement park here as well, but I didn't really know where the green is going to go. So I think it's just going to be easier for me to put the green plate on top of the gray plate. It seems so wasteful, like I'm having a hard time laying this plate, because for the most part, there's always just one layer of plate. But I just don't know where this green space is going to go. And for me to start popping out these 16 by 16s and all of this weird stuff everywhere to try and make it perfect would just be so much work and so time consuming. There was a comment that said, it seems like Mills is an absolute nightmare. Why would you do Mills? Like, it seems like it would just be, not worth it in the end. For the amusement park, I'm not going to lie to you, Mills has made it very complicated. I've actually never made an amusement park on Mills plates. This is the first time. The last time I had the amusement park completely finished, it was not Mills plated. So for the amusement park, it is proving to be difficult. But for the city, like when you have everything on Mills plates and you want to move this modular building and you just pop it right out of there, it's so much easier. So for the city, when everything's pretty much a standard 32 by 32 base plate or standard base plate size, Mills makes it so easy. But when everything's sort of weird, odds and ends sizes, it makes it a little bit more difficult. But I'm not regretting changing my city to Mills. It's taken a lot of time and parts, but it definitely is a lot easier to move modular buildings around. Like, it takes 0 time to pick these up and move them around. When I had them tiled in spot to the road plate, like when I wasn't using Mills, it was a nightmare to move things around, but now it's so easy. But yeah, I'm excited to start laying some green plate. Got the first few down there. Check it out. I found some buildings that can help fill some space. First off, the Bricklink Designer Program Hot Shot. Such a cool game. Yeah, that's got to be in the amusement park, and that takes up a half base split. So I actually integrated that right into the Mills plate. I removed the 16 by 16s, popped it in there. Well, actually centered it on a 48 by 48, and then added some 8 by 8s on this side. So that's going to be the walkway. I'm going to have to get rid of all of this green just by tiling it all off. Keep in mind, I want to tile off the entire amusement park. Yeah. Like, there's going to be no studs here other than the grass. And I actually don't mind the fact that I'm putting the green plate on top of the gray plate, because now these studs represent grass, and the grass is higher than the pathways. Yeah, so it's sort of winding through here. Then I also found these 2 little buildings that are custom. They're going to get a little bit of an upgrade, but I've also integrated them right into the Mills plate. So I actually slid them forward 4 studs so I can put grass back here. Then I can put some trees and stuff back here as well. I'll probably just have to change up these walls so they're not solid white. Like, this one has a nice window. That's awesome. And also the famous wall from the Magic Kingdom. Famous selfie wall. Look at that. It's got the hidden Mickey built into the roof as well. And that big cone there. And then it actually has some interior details. It's a souvenir shop. All sorts of neat stuff. And then also in here, it's a little pastry store or a little ice cream shop. There you go. You can get some ice cream. Whoopsie daisy. Get some ice cream and some souvenirs. They might need a little upgrade, but I think they're nice little shops. And they fill the space quite nicely, and they give us that nice winding path that I'm going for. I've had a lot of people, not on YouTube, but on Instagram, ask me how I access the city. It's like, well, popping up through these holes, right? You know what? I got my knee pads on. My knees never hurt when I wear my knee pads. I can do the good old power slide through the hole. I power slide 50 times a day when I'm working on the amusement park. You know what? I'm loving this layout. It's looking good from this perspective. That Disney castle turned 45 degrees like that. Game changer. Seriously. Yeah. I'm feeling that. Maybe the Disney castle should go in the middle between the 2 roller coasters. But then I have to find a new home for the Ferris wheel. For the carousel, because it's 48 studs, right? So it has to share a spot with a 32 stud base plate, like it is there with the fountain. Yeah, so it's not as easy as just doing that, right? Woo, looking good though. Off to a great start today. Like, we're getting tons done. Feels great. I guess technically speaking, I could shift this down to the very end and then shift this over. So essentially just remove the plate that the Disney castle's on and then shift everything down and put the Disney Castle plate right there so it's beside the loop coaster, or keep the Ferris wheel where it is, shift this down and put the Disney Castle right there. Maybe we should try that. I don't know. Might have to ask Jose. Because then the Disney Castle would be pretty close to the carousel no matter what we do. Right? Yes. Thinking out loud all the time on the camera, I tell ya. But you know what? I just turned this a bit more and slid it forward a bit. And I honestly think this is going to be a cool spot for it. Just right in the corner there. We could do all sorts of landscaping around it, even with like a big water feature around it. It is pretty close to this roller coaster. Maybe what I need to do, I don't want to do it. It would be a lot of work. But the other day when I was working on this, I moved the Ferris wheel over there, right? I could technically slide this back. It's going down. I guess I'm changing the entire layout. I'm moving the Ferris wheel back to try and free up more space for the park. See, messing around with layouts like this becomes overwhelming because when you try different things, for example, if I want to put the Disney Castle there, well, then I have to slide this over, right? But this can't go right up here because then it's going to collide with the train track, you see? So I can't put that all the way over there. So now I have to move it 8 studs over. So then I have an 8 stud gap over there, and then I have another 8 stud gap over here. So it's not as easy as just moving the roller coaster over and switching the position of the Disney Castle. But by moving the Ferris wheel over there, or by bringing it back, I've freed up 16 studs. But now it's just a matter of where those 16 studs are going to go, because right now, 8 studs of it there, and 8 studs of it has to go over there if I want to put this coaster there. So then, boom, my 16 studs are gone, and I didn't really gain anything, really. Right? So I think, based on that, the Disney Castle is better off over there, because if I keep the same layout, like how I had it, I can just bring those 16 studs that I freed up from over there and allocate them to the Disney Castle. The Disney Castle is very tall. It's going to block the things on the raised platform, but it's sort of give and take at this point, right? Because would it really make sense to have the castle there? Like, yes and no, but like there's only this much room, and sure, maybe you could spin it or whatever, but I just think it's better off if it's in the corner where we had it. I just think that's the best layout. So by making these changes, and at least by testing this, I'm pretty sure I know that now. And at least by making that change over there, which is nowhere near done yet, it's going to be a long night, I guess, I get 16 more studs for the Disney Castle. So that's probably how I'm going to set it up, but I just wanted to try this out. Pretty much destroy everything I've been working on all day. Hey, not everything. At least we have that down there. Woo! So there's some repercussions of doing this. I've got a 16 by 32 train track here. And I've got a hole here for a 16. And a hole over there for a 16 by 16. So I'm going to have to create 2 quarter base plate segments, because these are attached to 48 by 48s. So there's 2 48 by 48s here. So now I have 2 options. I can convert all this to 32 by 32, 3 of them, right? And then convert these to half base plates, so they're like this. Or I can just take this one apart, cut it in half, because it's on an off-brand base plate, who cares? And then just make 2 half segments and fill that. It's probably going to be quicker just to do that, rather than creating 3 half base plate segments and then 3 new base plates. I may as well just chop that right in half, and then it's not the end of the world having quarter base plates anyway. I really don't mind having them, because I've got to fill in a bunch of spots over there that are quarter base plates, half base plates, 10 stud increments, and then I got to fill this whole space in right here with half base plate mills plates now. It shouldn't take too long, though. I hope to get it all done. But yeah, this is sort of what it's going to look like now, with that space dedicated to the space over here for the Disney Castle. So we got 16 more studs all the way along. So that's actually pretty big. That's going to give us some nice breathing room over here for that Disney castle. And when I get around to building the Disney castle, I'll be able to make something absolutely spectacular over here for it. So rather than having that space in the middle of the park, I can have it in the corner where I'll be able to just really do something simply amazing for the Disney castle. I'm really excited about that. It's going to be a huge project, but that's going to be way better than having it in the middle surrounded by roller coasters. Yeah, I think this is for sure the right option, but I think for sure another right option that we did, or another positive thing that we did, was move the Ferris wheel. Boy, oh boy, I've got a lot of work ahead of me here. Holy cow. That's why I didn't want to do it like this in the first place, because now the repercussions of this are just a little bit overwhelming. Holy cow. It's going to be worth it though. So what I did was actually just create a bunch of little podiums using two 2x2 plates and then 2x2 tile on top of that. I went heavy in the center because that's where like the main moving functions of the Ferris wheel are. And then the front, I'm not too worried about it because it's just big 16x16 plates. And these fill in the hollow spots of the Ferris wheel, and I should be able to just plop it down right there. So everybody check it out. Slowly but surely, we're bringing the Lego City to awesome level 3000, right? Heck yeah. This thing's back on the remote, so I can make it go fast or slow. That's the way you optimize the speed of the Ferris wheel. I just use the same thing that a train uses. The IR receiver and IR remote. And then I can reach over here and fire that up. That I don't need an IR receiver for. That thing's gonna make you sick. But obviously I got the base plates all fixed up here. So everything's looking good. There's 3 things operational. Why don't we fire up the Hogwarts Express as well? And that of course is on my Bluetooth remote, which is just pinned to my IR remote there. So we can fire that up. And truly, if we wanted to, I could fire that train up as well, but I don't know. I don't know if I can handle that much awesomeness. Yeah, so I got the space there for the Disney Castle now. Still got to play around with all of my green plate. So this is all going to be like tapered off with 1x's. Like I'm not going to have these jagged edges, and there'll probably be like barriers going around the entire green space as well in some cases, I guess. And then I gotta like add details everywhere. There's still a lot more green spaces that I need to add here, like the basic layout of them, and then start throwing down more vegetation sort of everywhere. Get lots of different trees going and all that jazz, sort of the same as what's going on everywhere else in the Lego City. But I'm glad I was able to free up these studs there. So now that Ferris wheel goes right to the back there, which makes a lot more sense. I don't know why I didn't do that in the first place. Just sometimes it takes a while to get things done. I'm extremely happy with the mixer platform though, and also the crossing there. It took me 12 hours to do all this stuff. But there's a lot of like thinking involved, because it's sort of difficult. I have all these different ideas in my mind and I want them to be executed properly. And then also like the Lego, like the space and the odd shape of the Lego sets sort of put a constraint on it as well. And then also, you know, the 150 comments in the last video of people telling me what to do or giving suggestions makes it difficult as well, because you read all that and then it's like, I don't know what to do. So it's a lot of like planning and organizing and thinking of different ideas and moving things around and like just figuring it all out. But I think day 2 of the amusement park has gone well, and I got quite a bit done. Yeah, it started at 9:30 this morning. I just said 12 hours. I don't know actually what time it is. Let me check. Sorry, it's 9:04. So 11 and a half, I lied. Plus I helped with the kids a bit. But there we go. Awesome. Amusement park's looking great. My hair is not. Thank you so much for coming on by. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure you stay tuned for the next update, because we're going to continue working on this in the very near future. It's looking epic. I love how everything's in motion, and I can't wait to get all the rides in motion. Whew! It's going to be a journey. It's fun. Farewell.